Welcome, welcome. I'm your host, Brian Halley, and you're listening to the Brandstanding podcast. I'm excited to help you unlock the magic of brand strategy to supercharge your business in a way that's practical, easy, and fun. So let's dive in. Welcome back to the Brandstanding podcast. My name is Brian Halley, and with me, as always, Emily Halley.
Hi, everybody.
Excellent. We have been talking about the phases of branding. The first phase being the messaging phase, second phase, identity, and third, expression. And the last few episodes have been about the message phase and the pillars inside it. We've already covered the first pillar, purpose, and that is your why. The second pillar we're still on, and this is part 2 of positioning. Brand positioning is figuring out where your brand fits in the competitive landscape of your products and services, and then implementing strategies that are based on how you will get your brand to stand out, to be different from all the other brands in your space.
Yes, and this is so important. And this phase is a little complicated. So we divided it up into 2 episodes. Last week in episode 4, we talked about how to find your target audience and how to do a competitive audit. It's important to know who your target audience is so you know what matters to them, what their problems are, and how your brand can help solve those problems. It's also important to know who your competitors are, what messages they are sending to your potential customers, so you know how to make your message different. If you missed last week's episode, you might want to go back and listen to episode 4 and then come back to this one.
It will make a lot more sense because it will move into what we're talking about today, which is going to be our SWOT analysis, meaning that we will talk about the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats that exist in your brand. We'll also work on finding what differentiates you using various positioning strategies. And then finally, we'll give you a formula for writing a positioning statement. How exciting is that? We don't just talk about it here and give you these elusive ideas. We're going to give you the formula of how to write your own positioning statement. And that is extremely valuable.
Yes. And just like if you were with us for the brand purpose one, we did all this work so that we could have like this little bitty statement come out the other end. It's the same for brand positioning. We're going to do a whole bunch of work so that we can find the little 1 or 2 sentence insights that we need to find about our brand to make it different. So let's dive in to a SWOT analysis. If you're unfamiliar what this means, it's pretty common in the business world, but if you haven't heard of it before, it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And as we begin all of these things, you're going to want to open a Google spreadsheet and create 4 columns and label each of them those names of the SWOT analysis. So you'll need a strength column, a weakness column, opportunity, and a threat column. All right. So you're going to use the information that you gathered in your competitive audit. And so comparing yourself to the brands that were in your audit, what does your brand do really well? So this is going to be your strengths. What does your brand do well? Are there products or services or features that you offer that the competitors don't? Do you have access to any key resources that they don't, or maybe professional contacts? Do you have a loyal customer base already? Do you have positive cash flow? Another item might be having minimal employee turnover. Maybe people really like working for your brand. Do you have better design or better technology? Do you have better selection or better systems in place? Do you have better pricing?
It definitely will make you feel good about your strengths that you have next to them. That's a good one to go over.
And it's okay if not all of them are strengths. That's fine
And
too.
some of
You're
these will
just
have to,
looking.
yes, some of them will have to do with your company. Some of them won't.
Yes.
It's okay.
You're just looking for what are the few that are your strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. That's the first column. In the second column, compared to your competitors, what are your weaknesses? So now you can look at potential weaknesses, which might include things like a short length of time in business, maybe a poor brand reputation or no brand reputation at all yet, number of followers on social media, pricing, inconsistent cash flow, outdated technology, resource limitations, product issues, poor customer reviews, internal operating problems, weak distribution network, problems getting financing, below average marketing skills. A lot of weaknesses. Don't let this get you down. Just, it's not someone yelling at you. It's just you identifying where you're at.
Right. So that you know what to make better,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Okay. In the third column, these are the opportunities that you notice through your competitive audit. So, does your brand fill any needs that aren't being addressed by your competitors? Or could your brand market to a different market segment that is not being marketed to by your competition? Could you fill a different price or quality echelon? So like when last episode when we talked about like the different brands of chocolate at the grocery store, they're all like different qualities as well as different prices. So could you fit your brand into some kind of a different segment of that market? Are other brands getting consistent complaints that haven't been resolved that your brand could work to fix? Are there any changes in social norms or values that you could take advantage of? Um, Maybe geographical expansion would be a good idea. Going somewhere where your competitors just aren't yet might be good for you. You could look for opportunities to partner with your competitors. Maybe there is a service or product you offer that would add to what they are already offering, and that might be good for both of you. Also, are there complementary partners? So, those would be partners that share your same target market that you could joint venture with and share a customer base because you're both looking for the same people, you just don't overlap with what you do. You might also look for new distribution channels, new ways to get your product and service out there to your market. And maybe there are favorable laws or policies being passed that you could take advantage of as well.
The one that pops up in my head is electric cars when they first
Mhm.
came out, early 2000s, and all the brands were going after this economic, cheaper, spend less on gas crowd that was all about saving money, all about being efficient. And someone at Tesla noticed that is just so saturated and everybody's going after the same
Yeah,
persona.
same segment.
And what if we made an electric car for a different crowd, a different space?
Yes.
And look how successful they've gotten because
Yeah.
they saw that.
Yes. So they were going after a completely different segment that wanted more performance. They wanted more features.
I wanted to
They
look
wanted it to
nice,
look really.
look cool.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's an example, some things that you can discover with this.
The complete market that was not being served at all.
Yeah, and now it is. And then the final column, potential threats. Are there technologies on the horizon that could make your product or service obsolete? Be aware of that. Do other brands outprice you? Also consider emerging competitors, economic downturns, changing consumer preferences, rapid technology advancements, especially with AI coming into the scene. You got to be aware of that. Regulatory changes, supply chain distributions, natural disasters, price fluctuations of raw materials, negative publicity, political instability, labor shortages. I know it's a lot of negative stuff.
Mass hysteria.
You will not have all those things, but we wanted to say, hey,
Well, who knows?
there's a,
I mean, we kind of had all of this during COVID. So
yeah, you want to be ready for that
can't be too careful
and to protect
anymore.
yourself. Absolutely.
So, because the market is always in flux, the work of brand positioning is never done, unfortunately. Once you do this initial analysis, you're going to want to continue to monitor the situation. Keep your ear to the ground for potential opportunities that you could take advantage of, as well as potential threats, and then readjust your strategy as needed.
Absolutely. And here's a quick example. A client that we had called Yes Life. It was a CBD company. And We did the SWOT analysis and noticed that at that time, CBD products were only being sold through smoke shops and CBD dispensaries. Well, there was this whole other segment that wasn't being marketed to yet in the medical industry. Doctors, chiropractors, muscle therapists. We were able to see this new opportunity, this gap, because the people walking into the doctor's offices and chiropractors and muscle therapists are completely different than the people that are being targeted for the smoke shops.
Right.
It's just different. And so we created packaging that was geared toward the medical market, and we nailed it. And that was a good example that when you do the work, you can find the space in the market to be different.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so after the SWOT analysis, then you can move on to figuring out how to differentiate your brand from the competition. So, what is differentiation? It is the unique value that your brand can offer. It's what sets you apart from everybody else. And here are the key questions that we want to answer. What can you offer that competitors can't or aren't?
Mhm.
In your SWOT analysis, what things did you identify that your brand does better than anybody else? These could play into this differentiation. How are you different? What makes you stand out? How does your brand solve problems differently or better than the competition?
Great. And we're going to give you 9 strategies to differentiate yourself. And we're going to go through each one. So the first one is to have a niche focus, targeting a specific, narrowly defined segment of the market. An example of this would be like a bakery specializing in gluten free vegan desserts that appeal to health conscious individuals with dietary restrictions. You think it's limited and you think it's like this too small of a market, but because it's so niche,
No one else is serving it.
yes, and there
Yeah,
are people there. Okay,
right,
yeah.
right, exactly. Okay, another strategy that you might choose to use is unique storytelling. You could use a compelling, authentic narrative that creates a memorable brand identity. So, for example, a coffee company could share its journey of sourcing beans ethically from small farmers, making you, as the customer, feel connected to the people behind who is making your morning cup of coffee.
Nice. All right. So niche focus, unique storytelling. Another one is an innovative solution, offering groundbreaking products or services that solve specific problems. And so an example of this is a fitness app that uses AI to create personalized workout plans based on real-time health metrics. Very powerful, but that's an innovative solution that you can differentiate yourself with.
Yes. Okay. Another strategy is making emotional connections. So, building deep bonds with customers by tapping into their feelings and their values. So, for example, a nonprofit pet rescue could use heartwarming stories of saved animals to encourage donations and adoptions.
Excellent. You had me at nonprofit pet rescue.
I know. These are the videos that always suck me in on social media too.
Uh,
Like, let's adopt them.
yeah.
I have a brand that I buy from that I thought about when I was reading about the idea of emotional connections.
Mhm.
I buy like my cleaning products, laundry detergent, stuff like that from a company called Grove.
Okay.
And Grove does all the legwork, all of the digging to source where these products are coming from to make sure that they are sustainable, that they're earth friendly, and that they're healthy for your family, which I really appreciate because that is hard to do to find where things come from. So when I buy from them, I know that I am making a responsible purchase, even though I also know that I'm paying a little bit more than I would at the grocery store. It's worth it to me because they keep reminding me of the good that I'm doing. So they'll do things like tell me how much garbage I've saved from the landfills or how much carbon I have reduced in the atmosphere because of my purchases. When I get a box of product in the mail, there's a handwritten note on the top of the box that gives me some kind of encouragement, like, way to save the world, Emily. So they're always reminding me of that shared value that we have.
And what would have been a small company or a new company that hadn't been in business for a long time got you emotionally
Yes.
and was able to connect with you, and that's a shortcut. That's a shortcut.
It is a shortcut.
All right. Another thing that can differentiate your brand is pricing. Positioning the brand based on cost, whether premium, value, or competitive pricing. Either way you want to go. Luxury skincare brands often use higher prices that to signal exclusivity or high quality.
Mhm. 'Kay, you could also use promotions. These would be special offers or campaigns to boost your visibility and attract customers. SaaS model companies use this strategy a lot by offering a free trial or an introductory discount and then converting those users into subscribers. So it's kind of like the, get your samples at Costco idea.
Absolutely. They'll give you a free 15-day, then it'll switch to a cost, but you can
Right.
test it out. Try it.
Right. Yeah. Give
Yeah.
it a test drive.
Great. All right. Another one is distribution. So, strategically choosing where and how your product or services are available. An example would be a sustainable clothing brand that sells exclusively online to minimize costs and reach an eco conscious digital shopper. Oh, so they're almost mixing in that emotional connection with how they distribute it together.
Yeah, and that's interesting how you could spin that into a really great thing, right? It's not that we don't have a retail store, so we're just doing this online, but we're actually doing this online for a purpose so that we aren't causing more environmental damage than necessary. That's interesting how you could spin it that way. Another strategy is packaging. So you could use your packaging to create appealing or functional designs to differentiate you from your competitors. A luxury chocolate brand could use gold foil, for example, to enhance the unboxing experience and create a sense of indulgence.
Yes.
I'm sure I've never experienced this before at
No.
all.
You know
No.
what popped in my head just now was time's ticking. When
Oh, yeah? How
they
come?
so time's ticking is a client we had, and they repair luxury watches that have been passed down as heirlooms, so some of them are quite old, and they just came back to us recently and asked, "Can you design a box that we can put that fixed watch in that could elevate the customer experience from just opening a regular brown shipping box
Mhm.
to this higher elegant box, this nice luxury box," and it was really fun to design and with patterns and just to bring that across to them. But that was totally done by packaging.
Yes, that's a great example.
Yeah, that was
Great
fun.
example.
All right, the last one is naming. Selecting the name that communicates your values, uniqueness, or niche. An example is a fast casual restaurant called Fresh Bite instantly signals health and speed to its target audience.
Yeah, when we're talking about communicating your message in 3 seconds, your name is one of the most important things that you could focus on to get a lot of meaning across to people.
Yeah.
So it's important.
Yeah. Now let's share some success stories. I love talking about success stories and who's out there in the market. Hydro Flask has always caught my eye as a successful brand that's done a good job because they entered the arena in a world full of water bottles.
We already have too many water
Yeah.
bottles. Why do we need another
Let
one?
me guess. It holds water and I can drink out of it on the go. And what they were able to coin was that it keeps liquid cold. Like
For a really long
a
time.
long time, and they differentiated themselves by being the first double-walled stainless steel water bottle. Hydro Flask was able to elevate their brand by demanding an almost unbelievable price. If you showed up at your sports game with a Hydro Flask, people would be in awe because you
Right,
bought that.
you're
Wow.
communicating something to people around you with that logo on your water bottle. Even though competitors have popped on the scene that are very similar. In fact, they might even be structurally identical,
Mhm.
but they have a different logo on them, and that says something to people as well. Oh, I bought the second best water bottle. I bought the cheaper water bottle. So they've been able to create this sense of we're the best, even though that might not be literally true. It is emotionally true.
Most and they feel it, and that's the power of branding. And if you don't think that's valuable, Hydro Flask's 2023 revenue was $14 million. That's pretty powerful.
Yes.
And there's a lot out there. Stanley's the next one. That's
I guess people really love their ice. Like, they
Stanley
are
does
willing
the
to
same
pay.
thing, and they're at 750 million. It just blows my mind, and that's a whole different
Yeah.
they found a space not in the sports world, but now towards what, moms
Yeah.
and,
The soccer
The
moms.
Office. Yeah,
They're like, "We want a different top and a handle.
and they found the space.
We want a straw."
Alright. And what are some other, examples, Emily, that you see?
Well, one of the ones that we thought of was Airbnb.
Mhm,
So, before Airbnb was around, I mean, this was a completely new idea, right? Like, turning this hospitality industry on its head by
mhm,
all of a sudden allowing people to rent out their own spaces in their homes for what developed into a really personal, curated experience that people could look to have compared to the cookie cutter traditional hotel experience was like something people really wanted.
excellent. Yeah, very a good success
So it's
story.
almost like they made their own market segment that we just didn't even know people wanted yet.
Exactly. Patagonia is another one, known for its commitment to sustainability and environmental activism, which sets them apart in the clothing industry. That's how they've been able to differentiate,
Yeah. GoPro did
separate.
something super interesting. They actually used the videos that their customers were making to do their marketing, which just fits so well with what they do. Let's just use the videos people are making with our cameras, and that's just going to build a community
Let
around
that just
itself.
prove what we do and
Yeah.
let user-generated content run the show.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
Dove's another one. I know you have a special place for Dove, where they differentiated themselves in the beauty industry with campaigns promoting that self-positivity and real beauty.
Yes.
Positivity,
So Dove differentiated themselves by challenging this obsession that beauty companies had with showing perfection.
perfection.
Right? They've said, how about we show people as they really are, and as they really are is beautiful. So that it like turned the whole narrative of the industry around. And I think their competitors were probably left a little reeling, like, oh, shoot. We should probably also be doing this.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen. We've seen real people represented in beauty brands because of Dove's campaign. Now
Maybe we
because
should
of
calm down with our Photoshop a little bit.
yeah, yeah, that's great.
Okay. All right. So after we've got our SWOT analysis, we figured out what makes us different. Now it's time to figure out that little 1 to 2 sentence snippet that we talked about after all this research. We're going to pull it all together and we're going to write our positioning statement. So, a positioning statement is for internal purposes. So, this is something that you will see, that your marketing team will see, your employees will see. This isn't something that is customer facing. It will, however, act as like the guide for generating the marketing that your customers will see. But this is for you to know how you are different from your competitors so that you know how to market. Okay, your positioning statement needs to give you a clear picture of who your customer is, what your company offers, and how it's different or unique in the market. It needs to be succinct and articulate, and it needs to get at a specific target audience. So, there's going to be 4 things that you're going to need to know before you start putting it together.
This is the
The
formula.
4, yeah. What will go into your statement is number 1, who your product or service is for. And remember, this is your specific market segment, not everyone in America needs what I do. Okay. Specific target segment. Number 2, what your product is or what industry you're operating in. So we need some kind of frame of reference of who you are in your market. Number 3, what is your unique value or benefit compared to the other people in your space? And then number 4, what's your evidence or reason that your customer would believe your unique value?
So putting this into a
Okay.
practical application in a sentence, those 4 parts would
Yes.
look like go.
Would look like this. So here's your formula. And I know this is probably going to be a little confusing delivering this over audio or video. We'll put this in the show notes. We'll put this on social media so that you can reference this later when you've got a piece of paper. So here's the formula. You're going to start with the word for, and then you're going to plug in who your target audience is. So for this audience, and then your brand name. Our brand is the, and then you're going to put in what you do, your industry, okay, your category. So for this audience, this brand is the, what are you in your category? And then you're going to put in your value. So that has this value because, and then you put in your evidence, your reason to believe. Let me tell you some examples so you start to get the feel for how this sounds. Example 1, this is a fictional company, okay? So a meal kit delivery service, for example. Their positioning statement could say, "For busy professionals who want healthy home-cooked meals." So that's their specific target audience segment. Busy professionals who want healthy home-cooked meals. Fresh Ease, that's the name of their brand, is the meal kit service. So meal kit service tells you what competitive landscape they're operating in because there's other meal kit services. And here's their unique benefit that provides easy, nutritious recipes delivered to your door. And then the evidence because we partner with top chefs and local farmers to ensure high quality ingredients. So, again, for busy professionals who want healthy home cooked meals, Fresh Ease is the meal kit service that provides easy, nutritious recipes delivered to your door because we partner with top chefs and local farmers to ensure high quality ingredients. Okay,
Boom, that's a
boom.
positioning statement.
That's it. All that work for 2 sentences. Okay, here's another one. Example number 2, a fitness app. This one says for fitness enthusiasts seeking personalized workouts. So there's your specific target audience. FitFlex is the app. So that's who you are and what segment you're operating in that adapts to your goals and progress. There's your unique benefit because we leverage cutting edge AI technology to design custom plans. So there's your evidence.
Boom.
Boom. Okay. Do you wanna give us some real brand examples,
Yeah, let's look
baby?
at some stuff that so those were fictional. Here are some real ones. Mailchimp is an all-in-one marketing platform for small business. We empower millions of customers around the world to start and grow their businesses with our smart marketing technology, award winning support, and inspiring content. Sounds like a good positioning statement.
Mhm.
Slack is another one. Emily, do you want to share Slacks?
Sure. Slack is the collaboration hub that brings the right people, information, and tools together to get work done. From Fortune 100 companies to corner markets, millions of people around the world use Slack to connect their teams, unify their systems, and drive their business forward.
Excellent.
So, all of these positioning statements give the marketing team the tools they need for who they're communicating to, how they're different from the competition. This is what we need to communicate because this is what makes us different. And it's just got everything in it in just a couple sentences. So simple.
Super helps you. Yeah. So this wraps up that pillar of brand positioning, seeing your competitive landscape, your products and services, implementing those strategies, how to stand out and differentiate yourself, owning a word or idea in the customer's mind, the SWOT analysis, uh, what differentiates yourself, and the positioning statement.
Mhm.
That's what we covered today.
Awesome. All right. So it's that time, you guys, your
Ah,
action steps. I know. Here's the homework.
Exciting.
Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do this week is you're going to perform your SWOT analysis. So make a Google spreadsheet, use your competitive audit to identify your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats based on the other companies that you compared yourself to. What does your brand do better than your competitors? And then use that to differentiate yourself. What do you do better than any other brand? How can you stand out? What positioning strategies that we talked about will work for your brand? So we covered finding a niche focus that might work for you, storytelling, innovative solutions, emotional connections, pricing, promotions, distribution, packaging, and naming. You could even use color, work to own a color in your customer's mind, like that Oreo cookie blue, right?
T-Mobile pink.
T-Mobile pink.
Home Depot orange.
Exactly. Okay, and then you're gonna write a positioning statement, and in that, include who your product or service is for, specifically, what your product is or what industry you're operating in, what is your unique value or benefit, and what is your evidence or reason to believe.
Excellent. That was really fun. I hope that didn't overwhelm you in the Google spreadsheets and it made sense over audio. I had a good time. Emily, you?
Yes, and if you're overwhelmed, reach out. We would love to help.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever questions you have.
Let us know how you're doing in your brand positioning research and strategies. We absolutely would love to hear from you. Email us at brian@info.brandstanding.com or just post your questions to Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Join us again next week as we discuss the next pillar in the brand messaging phase, the brand promise. I love that. Thanks for listening. If you're finding this content helpful, please take a moment to rate and review our podcast so we can continue to get the word out to entrepreneurs just like you. Have a wonderful day and keep dreaming big. We'll see ya.
Take care.